بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن ينصركم الله فلا غالب لكم.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Breaking Lies. My name is Samar Hakim. The Strait of Hormuz has become a nightmare for the Americans. They're now saying that the Iranians are using it to blackmail them.
We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen.
Blackmailing. Controlling the waters that your country is sitting on is blackmailing, while America goes around stealing the oil from Venezuela and officially selling it. That's, international trade with extra steps. Have a look at what Hexis has to say about this.
To be clear, threatening to shoot missiles and drones at ships, commercial ships that are lawfully transiting international waters, that is not control. That's piracy.
You see, threatening to send missiles and drones is not control. That's piracy. But when America threatens to strike civilian infrastructure, that's okay with them too.
That's terrorism.
Certainly Venezuela is taking notice of that, and it continues because two oil tankers, overnight, were seized by the United States of America, stateless or sanctioned, because the oil blockade, the quarantine of oil out of unsanctioned or stateless vessels continues. That leverage will continue as Secretary Rubio outlined. So,
as you've seen today, 2 more ships were seized. We are in the midst right now and, in fact, about to execute on a deal to take all the oil. They have oil that is stuck in Venezuela. They can't move it because of our quarantine and because it's sanctioned. We are going to take between 30 and 50 million barrels of oil. We're going to sell it in the marketplace at market rates, not at the discounts Venezuela was getting. That money will then be handled in such a way that we will control how it is dispersed.
So they're making it completely legal, like according to their own laws, that they're going to go in, sanction, steal the oil from Venezuela, sell it, and use the money however they well damn please. And it gets even more ridiculous from here on in. I want you to watch this answer that Trump gives when asked about the gas prices in the United States of America.
On gas prices, how much longer will Americans continue to see these high gas prices?
Well, they're not very high. If you look at what they were supposed to be in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon with the danger that entails.
Well, they're not very high, he says. The prices are inflated. They went from $3.15 to $4.15, and he says, you know what, they're not very high. You should see how much it should be when we're trying to go and get the nuclear from Iran. Not very high. Ask the guy who's filling up his pickup truck at the gas station. Let me see what he says.
Hey everyone, so I'm here in Charlotte. Since the start of Trump's war of choice, it's $15 more every time you fill up your tank of gas. The price of diesel has now gone up 80% since the start of the war. And you best believe that's going to carry over to how much you're paying for all the goods that are being transported on those semis. We've got a president who is paying more attention to what he thinks is in his best political interest and personal interest, as opposed to what is in the best interest of working people in America.
Unbelievable. And then he complains about the ABC News being fake news, of course. And not only that, but then he talks about how good the stock market is going.
So the gas prices have come down very much over the last 3-4 days. I know, that's what ABC says. But the fact is that if you look at the stock market's up, everything's doing really well.
That's a classic bait and switch. He gets asked about gas prices and he tells you the market went up. It's like someone asking about a leaky roof and getting told, your garden looks good. And the best part is, he said it went down over the last 3 or 4 days. It went down. It went up like $1 and it went down like 9 cents. It went down. And now, America's blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. We just need to get something straight here. First of all, the blockade, as we've said earlier, was never closed. Before the war, it was always open. During the war, it was open, but the Iranians were selecting who goes in and out, and they charged a small fee. Now, America has this problem where they think the Strait of Hormuz is closed, so they blockade it. And they think that by blockading it, they're going to be able to open it. During the negotiations, it was supposed to be opened, right? And Trump tweets the other day that it's completely open, except it wasn't. And now, to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz by the Americans, the blockade of the blockade, there were two conditions that Iran has set with regards to reopening the Strait of Hormuz, right? The first was that you stop attacking Iran, and the second, that you stop attacking Lebanon. Let me say that again. Lebanon. You had to stop attacking Lebanon. Israel needed to stop. And because they didn't stop attacking Lebanon, the Strait of Hormuz continued to be strictly controlled. Lebanon, this tiny country that's trying to hold a ceasefire that it was never able to achieve with the Israelis, has now become the center of attention. Iran said, stop attacking Iran, stop attacking Lebanon, and we'll open up the Strait of Hormuz with the conditions that are attached with it. It was Iran that insisted on the issue of a ceasefire to be active and in effect for them to even consider opening the Strait of Hormuz. Have a look at this tweet by Professor Marandi, who says, Iran told the US that if a ceasefire in Lebanon were not swiftly announced, Iran would attack the Israeli regime. This increased pressure and helped lead to the ceasefire announcement. And then Trump states on social media that Israel will no longer be bombing Lebanon. They are prohibited, in capitals, from attacking Lebanon. That took Netanyahu by surprise. So in practice, Trump never really achieved anything new. This was already decided when they went in to say that there was going to be a ceasefire. These conditions were already there. There was no new victory for him to declare. But what he does is he spins his lies and he says that we're opening the Strait of Hormuz and we're going to clear out their uranium that is enriched. And not just that, he also said that Iran, with the help of the USA, has removed or is removing all sea mines. Thank you, President DJT. What mines are you talking about? There are no mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran never laid any mines. But here he is clearing the sea mines. This social media post sums it up nicely. Have a look at what this fella said about a month ago. The only thing we know for certain about how Trump's war will end is no matter what the outcome, whether any real objectives are achieved, regardless of the impact on the US and global economy over the short and long term, and the number of deaths, Trump will declare victory. And that's exactly what he's doing. He doesn't care what happened, he just wants to declare victory. Okay, so we know that Trump lies a lot. He lies so much it's not even worth going into the details of how bad he lies. In fact, the leader of the negotiating team on Iran's side said that in the last hour, Trump has lied about 7 things with regards to the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. It's not only the Iranians that are saying this, by the way. Have a look at this tweet, where they say at the end, let's wait for the Iranian version of the situation, which has become infinitely more reliable than the statements from the American president. Sad, but true. And the comedy doesn't stop there. After Trump's declaration of victory with the Strait of Hormuz, the Iranians have closed the Strait of Hormuz again. Guess why? Because of the bad faith that the Americans are showing, continuing their blockade, or the so-called blockade, of the Strait of Hormuz that they have, with the Navy ships standing just outside. They're too scared to enter. They're just standing a little bit outside and blockading who goes in and out. So the Iranians have blocked it again. And in just correcting the previous episode where we said that it was useless, it wasn't useless after all. The American blockade had caused the Iranians to once again close the Strait of Hormuz. And so this is where we stand with the Strait of Hormuz. The Americans' blockaded what Iran unblocked, Let me just read this. It blockaded what... Let's start again. Okay. What was previously unblocked before the war, but they blocked during the war. And so let me just read this again. The blockade was not used. I can't do this. So this is where we stand with the Strait of Hormuz. The Americans' blockade caused the Iranians to block what they unblocked. what was already unblocked before the war, but they had to block during the war. And now their blockade, which was opened because of the negotiations and the Lebanese ceasefire, right? Their blockade caused the Iranians to block what they unblocked. Again. So the Strait of Hormuz is now blocked.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن ينصركم الله فلا غالب لكم مملكة البحرين اليوم أكثر قوة ومنعة ويسعدها أن تحتفي بهذا النصر الوطني المؤزر.
Now in the middle of this huge fight between the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran, the government of this tiny little country comes along and says, we are victorious. I'm sure Trump acknowledges the significant victory that Bahrain has had over Iran. In his post, he said, thank you to Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar for your great bravery and help. Bahrain didn't even get a mention. Now, Trump really should have thanked Bahrain. I mean, he's losing friends left, right, and center. Spain, Italy, Canada, you name it. He's losing them. Have a look at what he said with Italy. This is what he said with Italy.
Do we still have the same relationship with Italy right now and Giorgia Meloni?
No. She's been negative. Anybody that turned us down for helping with this Iran situation, we do not have the same relationship, just so you know.
So here he's saying that anyone that he's asked for help with the Iran situation and they didn't help, they don't have the same relationship with. Despite the fact that he said he didn't want any help from anyone, right? From the outset, he said, we don't need anyone's help. And then he keeps asking for help. In one of his messages on social media, he said that now that the Hormuz Strait situation is over, or so he thought, I received a call from NATO asking if we would need some help. And he said, just stay away unless you want to load up their ships with oil. And they were useless when needed, a paper tiger. We can also have a look at what Macron said with regards to what America is doing to Iran right now.
Iran is a very bad regime. No discussion about that. I disagree with them on a lot of topics. But I don't believe that we will fix the situation just by bombings or by military operations.
Here's where it gets interesting. He doesn't think, and this is like really important, you know, we need to get our minds across this. This is a Western leader saying this, coming to you from France. This is the leader who it looks like he's been, tailored by the most expensive tailor in the world, and he's been shaped by philosophers in France. He's saying that he doesn't think that bombing a country out is gonna solve the problem.
Look at what happened with this type of operation in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya.
In Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya, look what happened. It's good. He's learning from the history. That's not to mention, of course, what France has done in Algeria for 134 years. That's another issue. We're talking about recent events, Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan. And he mentions them to make a point that bombing a country out isn't going to resolve a problem.
We never delivered. Never. Even after 20 years.
And here's the cracker. He says that we've never delivered even after 20 years. This is someone who is an ally of America, saying that despite all the efforts, all the bombings, all the expenses, all the lives lost, all the destruction that they've caused, they've never been able to deliver, even after 20 years.
So you have to respect the sovereignty of people.
No kidding! You have to respect the sovereignty of the people. Since when?
If people want to change a regime, they want to react, step up, they can do so.
Right. Now, I'm not saying that Macron is a revolutionary here. He's the same guy that said to people, you need to get a job, and was surprised when they started burning, roundabouts and setting things on fire. He's not being revolutionary here. But what he's saying is like a doctor claiming that the surgery that they've done over and over again for the last 20 years has done nothing more than just damage. Or for a McDonald's salesperson, staff to say that these burgers are actually bad for you. You're not supposed to say it. This guy did. He's saying that we're trying to bring about a democracy and a revolution in your country, make things better. But they just didn't work. Bombing you guys did not work. How many countries do you want to do that to finally come up with this conclusion that what you're doing is not working? And here's the joke, and it's really not a joke. When he said that, there was no apology, no policy change. There was no change in the way that he was going to deal with other countries. No reconciliation, nothing of the sort. In fact, the only reason why he's saying that right now is because they know how powerful Iran is. And that power that Iran has stopped them from going forward. The moment they realize or think for a moment that Iran is a weaker country, they'll just do the same thing. And if not to Iran, to another country. Thank you for watching. This is Breaking Lies. We'll see you next time.